Oh, mom tells son to get a consent text before sex. Oh, alright, you know the type of girls, well, she says, watch out for them stupid girls. I tell my son they are trouble. You know the girls, you know the type, the party girls, the girls who thrive on attention, the girls who will do anything to get a guy to notice them. As a pop star Pink riffs on her best song ever, Stupid girls, if I act like that, flapping my blonde hair back, pushing my bra like that, that guy will call me back. The problem is that all the kids in college are smart, or they wouldn't be there in the first place. My Dean's List son likes to remind me of that. Admittedly, it's a tricky conversation to navigate, but I'm not giving up. So there's much at stake. It seems nearly every week we hear stories about sexual encounters at parties where everyone is drinking and a young woman says she was raped and a young man insists the encounter was consensual. No mistake, no woman, no matter how much she parties, is asking to be raped. But too often we have this heavy drinking is involved and the meaning of consent can be misconstructed on both sides. According to the National Institute for Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, each year about 97,000 students between the ages of 18 to 24 are victims of alcohol-related substance assault or date rape, and those are only the cases that are actually reported. So understandably, parents worry about how best to prepare their daughters and sons for college. We spend a lot of energy learning to navigate the academics and the financial requirements. We give years of uh, throughout which colleges are the best for you to fit your kids. Once they are accepted, we make sure our children are sent off to college with overpriced, not so necessary items listed on the what's it pack for college list. And just because we drop them off on campus, we make sure that they have the talk about focusing on grades and not getting caught up in the party scene. Well, that's wow. I'm surprised, shocked, and stunned. You actually have a mom who's actually going the extra mile, and she's teaching her son. You know, not every girl is sugar and spice and everything nice. Some girls are just hoes and trick, and she's teaching her son that. And she's being honest and real with him, saying, "No, you don't do this. You know, if a girl is drunk, we walk away from that situation because anything can happen. The best of your ability to do is to get consent and to prove that it was consensual. Act like you liked her and wanted to do it again, just to be safe, even if you have no interest in seeing her again." Oh, mom is weird, but I respect the mother. She's keeping it real. She's keeping it 100, and she's trying to protect her son. And being that she's in the sports arena, she sees men who go through this all the time. It is what it is. But how often do you see women actually do that? Stick up to tell their sons honestly, like, yo, chill with certain females. Stay away from them. A lot of women don't do that for their sons. We all tell our daughters what not to do and what who not to mess with. And yeah, that we overprotect them, yet they still make the same wrong decisions and go with the same type of chicks or dudes that their parents wouldn't approve of, and that people say that they shouldn't be with. Even though we oversaturate them with that message, they still choose to go that route anyways. But when it comes to young men, men aren't honestly really taught that. I mean, they're not. Either
Opinion column has gone viral after a woman tells her college-bound son to get consent by text before having sex. Roxanne Jones, the author, is a founding member of ESPN the magazine and is a national lecturer on women's topics. She tells her son to watch out for the stupid girl, the one who will do anything to get a guy to notice her, like getting drunk, she says, at a college party. She also says that her son should follow up the sexual encounter with a tasteful text message, even if there are no plans to hook up again. So joining us now is Dr. Susan Fletcher, a family psychologist. We appreciate you being in here.
Thanks for having me.
With us tonight. Okay, so let's just put this part of it aside. The mom is not saying save yourself to me. That's a whole nother conversation. Wait till marriage.
Right.
With this conversation, she is saying, listen, just let the girl know this is what's happening. It's like consent via text. Do you agree with this advice?
Well, you know, the part of it that I don't agree with is you're doing something afterwards. It'd be much better to try to prevent a situation where there isn't consent. When you agree, you know, it'd be better if they got on the front end of it instead of trying to cover themselves at the end.
Developing the relationship, kind of, is that what you mean, as opposed to, oh, we're a little drunk and tipsy?
Right, taking advantage of a situation. And so it's irresponsible to, in my opinion, to look for an opportunity and then later try to cover up the mess.
So with, I guess, rules of engagement is what we can call. Aren't there things that we should know or shouldn't know, or that our parents should expect us to know if we're going off to college?
Right. Well, they expect us to be responsible.
Right.
They expect us to watch. They expect college-age children, adults,
right,
to be able to be manage their alcohol. Clearly, we don't want them drinking alcohol until they're of age. They want to make sure that they're responsible about sexuality. You know, sexuality is not something to be given away freely, but we do know there's a part of the population in that age group that will do it.
So this is a much different conversation. Well, I don't know. Let me back up. I guess I think if we have the sex talk with our teenagers, then we've had the sex talk and they get it. But yeah, a much different conversation, I guess we need to have, that I wonder if parents are having.
Continually, at different ages, have a different kind of sex talk. And I think that this brings up the question of helping your children, helping your young adults to know what to do to be responsible. And everybody's going to have a different opinion because of the different opinions about sexuality before marriage.
Okay, so aside from we don't want to have to clean it up as we do it, as we get into these situations. What about the texting before? I mean, should that be something that
well,
the boy or girl
I'm going
should
to tell
do?
you, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. I wish it wasn't needed.
Right.
But in these times, people want to have evidence of what they believe to be true. That's the problem. The he said, she said. Right. So we're not talking about it legally. I'm going to talk about it emotionally, is that we have to be really, really careful about what consent is. I have 3 boys, and I've taught my boys, when somebody says no, if you're wrestling with your brother and he says no, stop. Even if he's giggling, stop. And what we hope is by the time boys, girls, young men, and young women get to be college age, no means no, and that if there's any question about whether there's consent, that they would stop. So clearly this mother has taken a pretty dramatic approach that a lot of people may not find very good. You know, they might not think it's a really good approach, but it is one approach. It's just after the fact. I think a lot more needs to go into it in the beginning.
And I guess if it's working for her family.
You know, if it's working for her family, then who are we to say it's not acceptable? We have to do what works within our own families based on our own values. And clearly her values may be different than somebody else's. But if it's working, who am I to judge her?
Absolutely. Susan, thank you.
Great.
As always, thanks for coming in.
I honestly don't know what the hell that female in the little clip was talking about. I thought, from what I read, the intentions was to get the text before the sex and after to confirm. So I don't get this narrative where she's saying that we need to do something to stop it before. I think that was the whole point of the thing. Now, it's crazy that this is, the environment that, people have to grow up in now. It's like everything is so sensitive now that, men have to worry about being accused of false rape, and chicks have to worry about, well, not new, but they have to worry about, what environment they're in if they want to get pissy drunk and pass out. So it is what it is, but for both parties to protect themselves, they got to do what they got to do. Apparently parents aren't teaching their kids abstinence and waiting for marriage. Now they send them to college with a duffel bag full of condoms. It is what it is. I probably most likely disagree with 95% of anything else this woman writes, probably. I'm pretty sure she's a leftist. Definitely everything I read from her other than this is all about women in the workplace, women and this, women and that. So I'm not going to say she's a feminist, but she sounds like one on paper. But I agree with what she did as far as teaching her son the truth, and what she said about holding women accountable as well. And that's the conversation that most liberal feminists don't want to have. They don't want to talk about, the part on a female to know what she's doing when it comes to getting drunk and putting herself in worse situations. And it goes both hands. A young dude must know, like, yo, if she's drunk and you do that, that chick can yell and say you raped her. It is what it is. That's the way we live in now. I think there was some case, some university student athlete just got off, or charges was thrown out, which because of the girl said he raped her. But it turns out that the girl was, she texted her friend how you know, some weird stuff about how good it was that she had to put a pillow over her face, some nonsense like that. But because of those text messages from her to her friend, the case got thrown out. So it is crazy how that text pretty much saved that dude from being another Brian Banks. So, hey, this is what you gotta do now. It's a technical age. Now you gotta text before sex.
Equality, and we've both said yes.
Okay, get to it. No one cares.
Oregon sucks.
Gotta take off your dress. Do I have your permission?
Yep. Yep.
I can't find the zipper.
Oh, there is no zipper. I made this dress and my mom sewed it in.
Maybe I can try your abdominal area. Is that okay with permission?
Yes, you have my permission.
I'm lying to go.
Maybe, because maybe you could just rip it.
I just want to make sure you're feeling safe.
No. I feel like so safe and like I've never felt like more safe.
Do I have your permission?
Just be a man and rip it off.